Hi, I'm Trevor Smith, and in this bite-sized training film, I'll talk about conflict management and the importance of recognizing your own as well as other people's style when dealing with conflict. In the workplace, we've all seen situations where different people with different goals and needs have come into conflict. The fact that conflict exists, however, is not necessarily a bad thing. As long as it is resolved efficiently, it can lead to personal and professional growth. The good news is that by resolving conflict successfully, you can solve many of the problems that it has brought to the surface, as well as getting some unexpected benefits. These can include the following. Increased understanding. The discussion needed to resolve conflict expands people's awareness of the situation, giving them an insight into how they can achieve their goals without undermining those of other people. Second one, increased group cohesion. When conflict is resolved efficiently, team members can develop stronger mutual respect and a renewed faith in their ability to work together. And finally, improved self-knowledge. Conflict pushes individuals to expand their goals in close detail, helping them to understand the things that are most important to them, sharpening their focus and enhancing their effectiveness. However, if conflict is not handled effectively, the results can be damaging. Conflicting goals can quickly turn into personal dislike. Teamwork breaks down. Talent is wasted as people disengage from their work, and it's easy to end up in a vicious downward spiral of negativity. If you're to keep your team or organization working effectively, you need to stop this downward spiral as soon as you can. To do this, it helps to understand the theories that lie behind effective conflict resolution. One example is the theory of conflict styles. Kenneth Thomas and Ralph Kilman identified 5 main styles of dealing with conflict that vary in their degrees of cooperativeness and assertiveness. They argued that people typically have a preferred conflict resolution style. However, they also noted that different styles were most useful in different situations. They developed the Thomas-Kilman Conflict Mode Instrument, TKI for short, which helps you identify which styles you tend towards when conflict arises. They identified 5 styles: avoiding, accommodating, competing, compromising, and collaborating. I'll speak about each one in turn. Let's start with avoiding. People tending towards this style seek to avoid the conflict entirely. This style is typified by delegating controversial decisions, accepting bad decisions, and not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings. It can be appropriate when victory is impossible, when the controversy is trivial, or when someone else is in a better position to solve the problem. However, in many situations, this is a weak and ineffective approach to take. Let's move to accommodating. This style indicates a willingness to meet the needs of others at the expense of your own needs. The accommodator often knows when to give in to others, but can be persuaded to surrender a position even when it is not warranted. This person is not assertive, but is highly cooperative. Accommodation is appropriate when the issues matter more to the other party, when peace is more valuable than winning, or when you want to be in a position to collect on a favour you gave. However, people may not return favours, and overall this approach is unlikely to give the best outcomes. Moving to competitive. People who tend towards a competitive style take a firm stand and know what they want. They usually operate from a position of power, drawn from things like position, rank, expertise, or persuasive ability. This style can be useful when there's an emergency and a decision needs to be made fast, when the decision is unpopular, or when defending against someone who is trying to exploit the situation selfishly. However, it can leave people feeling bruised, unsatisfied, and resentful when used in less urgent situations. Let's move to compromising. People who prefer a compromising style try to find a solution that will at least partly satisfy everyone. Everyone is expected to give up something, and the compromiser, him or herself, also expects to relinquish something. Compromise is useful when the cost of conflict is higher than the cost of losing ground, when equal strength opponents are at the standstill, and when there is a deadline looming. Collaborative. People tending towards a collaborative style try to meet the needs of all people involved. These people can be highly assertive, but unlike the competitor, they cooperate effectively and acknowledge that everyone is important. This style is useful when you need to bring together a variety of viewpoints to get the best solution, when there have been previous conflicts in the group, or when the situation is too important for a simple trade-off. Once you understand the differences, you can use them to think about the most appropriate approach or mix of approaches for the situation you're in. You can also think about your own instinctive approach and learn how you need to change this if necessary. Ideally, you can adopt an approach that meets the situation, resolves the problem, respects people's legitimate interests, and mends damaged working relationships. So in summary, the key points are as follows. Conflict in the workplace can be incredibly destructive to good teamwork. Managed in the wrong way, real and legitimate differences between people can quickly spiral out of control, resulting in situations where cooperation breaks down and the team's mission is threatened. This is particularly the case where the wrong approaches to conflict resolution are used. To calm these situations down, it helps to take a positive approach to conflict resolution, where discussion is courteous and non-confrontational, and the focus is on issues rather than on individuals. If this is done, then, as long as people listen carefully and explore facts, issues, and possible solutions properly, conflict can often be resolved effectively. I just want to wish you luck with any conflicts that you have to deal with. If you want to learn more about conflict management, why not have a look at the website bitesizetraining.cz, or just give me a call or email.